So I'll be honest, guys, one of the things that I really hate seeing students spend money on, especially advanced level students. So if you're a person, for instance, who's watching a stream like this and you're getting, you know, 85, 90% or higher of the things that I'm saying, and you are also paying, for instance, for a speaking class, I really would ask that you consider what is your motivation for doing that. A lot of people are picking speaking classes, for instance, because they're like, oh my gosh, I have no one around me to talk to. Maybe there's no foreigners where I live. Maybe whatever the reason is. Oh, maybe it's like a schedule related thing. And like, okay, okay, fine. All these things may be even true. Although I also know some of us are living in major areas where if you look hard enough, you can find, foreigners, or you can find maybe even Americans and things like that. Not all of us, but some of us do. And some of us are still, looking for like speaking teachers and things like that. And I can get the argument for paying for a pronunciation teacher. You may think, well, Jeff, you're biased. You're a pronunciation coach. Okay, fine. What's up to Emmanuel? What's up to Milan? But, I think with pronunciation, sometimes you don't really know what to look for until a teacher tells you, oh, like you're doing this with your sound, and then you can start noticing it. So you don't necessarily need like a pronunciation coach every single day. Maybe just kind of like check-ins, just to kind of like guide you along the process. I think something like that can be helpful. And then if you're super serious about pronunciation, getting that consistent feedback. And most just general native speakers aren't going to be able to help you with that because they won't know what they're doing with their tongue and things like that. But for speaking, like a lot of us are just trying to get more comfortable speaking and more fluent. And for that, you just need to practice. You just need to talk more, which means you need to find people to talk to. And I just don't like this idea of, for an advanced level speaker in 2024, paying a teacher to do that. Unless like you're trying to like find like mistakes and things like that, but not every time you not every time you talk you need that. Um, and so what I'd like to do today is just kind of walk through a couple of resources that are out there. So that way, if you are interested in trying to find opportunities to talk, you will be able to do that. So allow me to share my screen. Give me one sec. So there's two resources. And I'll be honest, if you're interested in these sorts of resources, what you need to be open to is this idea. I need you to be brave, because sometimes I think people choose teachers because of like the convenience, and they're afraid to talk to people and afraid to do the things that they need to do, because it's not a new idea, right? Okay, if I want to talk more, if I can find native speakers to talk to, even better, right? That's not like a radical new idea, hopefully, for you. But if you're open to trying new things and really pushing yourself, there's so many opportunities right now that I wish I had back when I was more actively learning languages. So this first one is a website, and these are all resources we talked about previously. This first one is a website called meetup.com. I see Emmanuel's asking about Mission English. Right now we are on. So right now my meeting is delayed. So right now we're okay for class. What's up also to Sam? Good morning. Okay. So this is our first website. So this website, if you are trying to find native speakers to talk to, this website's going to be really helpful for us. But we also need to kind of change our approach to how we're handling the interaction. Okay, so instead of viewing interactions from the perspective of, I'm going to take this class to learn English, let's change the perspective a little bit. What's up to Livy as well? Let's change the perspective to, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to learn this skill, I'm going to take on this hobby, and let English be the vehicle. And if we're able to kind of take this sort of mindset, we're going to be able to do two things at once instead of just making English like the end goal. English is going to be part of the process for achieving another end goal. and you're still going to learn English, and you might actually make some native speaking friends along the way, which would be great, right? So here's our first website fluentamerican.com. First things first, what we're going to do, if you go to meetup.com, you guys can do this with me. You can fill in for categories that are interesting to you. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because I've had a couple of classes recently with a couple of students, and we keep doing this. So I'm like, all right, there's probably other people that can use this again too. I know we've talked about it before. But so I'm going to change my location to New York. And let's already you're going to see there's events popping up, but let's maybe pick a topic. So for instance, I have some students that like reading. So one of the things we did was, all right, let's try to find a book club. Okay, so I took a book club in New York, but you're going to be like, but Jeff, I don't live in New York. This is not very helpful. I got you. I know you don't live in New York. If you do live in New York, let me know. But if you don't live in New York, let me know. So what are we going to do about this? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here where it says any type, and we're going to switch it to online. Okay, and now what you're going to see, these are all online events that are going to be happening at some point. So for instance, this one's happening on Monday. This one's happening. Oh, look, this one meets regularly. Okay. And I know you're going to be like, but Jeff, some of these time zones don't work out. Okay, well, find one that does. Okay. All these times are based on New York time. So if you're in Europe, so this says like 3:30 p.m. So that means that for a lot of you, this will be around 9:30 p.m. your time. If you're in Asia, this isn't probably going to work out because it's going to be in the morning your time. But there was another one that might work out. So like, for instance, this one, okay, it's a little bit late, 10 a.m. New York. It's probably going to be 10 p.m. your time, but maybe something like that will work. And that's actually one designed for English learners. 7 p.m., so that would be 7 a.m. for some people. That would be 1 in the morning for Europe, for a lot of people. So just find a time that works out for you. And you can see how many people are attending. It's not, for a lot of these, for the book clubs, we're not talking like 20, 30, 50 people. We're talking, 6 people, 10 people. Enough people that if you join it, you'll be able to actually converse and talk. You're also seeing that some of these events are recurring. Okay, so they're happening, once a month, twice a week. So like this one's happening every week. Okay, so they're meeting on the 2nd, they're meeting on the 7th, they're meeting on the 4th. Oh, I guess they just had a busy week. I don't know why. But a lot of these are recurring. And why is that helpful if they're recurring? Well, if they're recurring, okay. Livy mentioning 10 a.m. is 4 p.m. exactly. So right in that 6-hour mark, right? So find one. Maybe I am very optimistic that we can find something that works in your time zone. If none of these work, then try California. So California is 3 hours behind New York. So maybe that sort of time zone would work better for you, Gansham asks, is it possible to find online archery classes? I don't know. I feel like archery is kind of physical, right? You kind of need to be there, but you might be able to find archery discussion groups, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Another thing you could do is you could go to Discord. Discord is a popular app if you have access to it. They have Discord groups for everyone. So for instance, on Discord, I don't currently have Discord. I uninstalled it, but you can search for groups and things like that. Okay, that's cool that you do archery. I imagine you could find a discussion group on that. So that's another platform too. You could explore Discord. Very, very popular for groups in the US. Anyways, so find your group. The advantage of having a group that meets multiple times is that, let's say the first time you go, you're a little nervous, so you don't get to talk so much. Okay, fine. But then maybe the third time, you're like, oh, I recognize Steve and Jessica and Maria. I remember these people. And then the fifth time, you keep going, and after a while, you start to get to know them, and maybe they're interested maybe in having outside conversations and things like that. Who knows? It's you're building your network of people, and you're also talking about a topic of interest to you, right? Another approach that you can do with this that I think is really helpful, okay, Girlfriend says, "What opportunity have I?" The way I think of it, don't worry about the past, worry about the future. Be like, man, I'm glad I know about this now, and not like 2 years from now. We can't think about. I wish I knew about this 10 years ago. No, I'm glad I know it now, and not 10 years from now. Think about the future aspect, right? Um, look ahead. So, in addition to this, for those of you who speak, especially popular languages, so some of the most popular studied languages in the U.S., are Spanish is up there, Italian's up there, Russian's up there, Chinese is up there, Arabic's up there, and things like that. So if we're speaking a relatively commonly studied language in the U.S., how about we approach it from the perspective of maybe I can help people, so like for instance, or maybe what if you learned another language using English? Like, what if you found like a Spanish speaking group based in New York? So you're going to learn Spanish through English because what's going to happen, especially in the beginner levels, they're going to use so much English in those classes. Okay. And then again, you can maybe start developing relationships with people and things like that. So especially if people are interested in languages, that's another option as well. But to go back to what I was saying, let's like put in maybe let's imagine you speak Spanish. I know we have a couple Spanish speaking viewers and things. Okay, so look at all these Spanish conversation and look, oh my gosh, this is great. Beginner, 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 high beginner, intro crash course, beginner. Okay, this is great because like I mentioned, sorry, waiting for the lag spike. Okay, there we go. All right, I think we're out of it. Okay, so you're going to see for these Spanish ones, these are all beginner, beginner, beginner. This is great because what if I speak Spanish and I go to these beginner classes? They're probably going to use a lot of English because it's for beginners, right? So I help them with their Spanish in English. So I'm teaching them some things about Spanish in English, right? Okay. And And so I'm able to practice some English. I'm able to help other people. And then maybe as I get to know them better, maybe someone's like, hey, could we meet like once a week on like Zoom and like practice together? Or maybe do like a language exchange or something like that. Who knows? Who knows? You meet enough people, someone's going to do that. So just another kind of approach. Find people, find studying your language, help them, and then see where it goes. I would say really target beginners. Um, People asking about price, and these events are free. So what they are typically very transparent about price. So let's see this one. I'm going to click this, and if you go down to the bottom, they'll usually have the price. So you can see this one is free. If it costs money, so you can see that they have tickets for this one. This one is $6. Okay, but other ones are free. So you need to check and see. You will need to check and see for price. Okay. What's up to Nesqua? Thanks for being here, Faith. Cooking. You can find cooking groups. There's people up here for cooking. Okay. One other website that I wanted to show you as well that can be helpful for this is Eventbrite. Okay. And so Eventbrite, again, I want to change my location. I'm going to put my location as New York. And then let's do the same thing. I'm going to do book club again. Okay. And then, no. And then, that's not what I wanted. Give me one second. I'll just do, you're going to see this has an option. If I click location, it's going to say use current location or browse online events. So I'm going to use browse online events. We'll go. And All right, so now I'm getting different online events. Now I will say with Eventbrite, I think that Eventbrite tends to have fewer free events. I think Meetup has more free events, but Eventbrite does still have some. Okay, so you can still use this. So you can see again different things that are going on. You'll see the time. As you can see, a lot of these are more paid. Okay, but not all of them. I've got 500 pages here of online book clubs to look through now. Okay, so that's just another quick resource there. Play around with that, Eventbrite. And most of these events, again, are going to be with native speakers. We got some really big questions. I'll do my best to answer. I'm going to do the last one first, and I'll get to Faze's question. So this question here, I'm afraid to speak with native speakers. What should I do? So I think this is a big thing where when I see students that sign up for classes with teachers, I think this is a big motivation. People are afraid. They're like, native speaker, I'm going to be so nervous. I'm going to make so many mistakes. The only way around it, the only way to get better at talking with native speakers is talking with native speakers. So my suggestion is handle it in stages. So the very first step, this is scary and intimidating for you. Sign up for something, attend it. The minute you don't like it, leave. You can leave. No one's gonna. No, there's billions of people on Earth, right? So like, if you leave, who cares? It's a free event. If you get scared, you can just go. You don't have to stay, but you do have to sign up. I need you to sign up, and I need you to go. And then if you don't like it, then you can leave. Okay, so that would be my first strategy. Is hey, can you just go to something? Go to something and stay for 1 minute. That's all I need you to do. Go to something and stay for 1 minute. Once you're able to accomplish that, then set a new goal. Your new goal is to go to something, stay for 1 minute, and at least say 5 words. Okay, so I'm just going to go, and I'm going to say 5 words. Then your next goal can be, all right, I'm going to go, and I'm going to ask a question and get an answer. Okay, so I'm going to go, and I'm going to ask one question to people. So build up, set these little challenges for yourself along the process, and I think this will help a lot. The other thing I would just say is that when you interact with native speakers, they're not trying to dislike you. It's in everyone's interest to have a good interaction with you. It makes them feel better, and it makes you feel better. No one wants to feel bad. Okay? Most likely, there's a chance that a lot of these groups don't have a lot of people from outside the U.S. attending because it's mostly a U.S.-based site. So they might be curious about you, like, oh, how'd you find out about this? What are you doing here? What do you do? Who are you? And things like that. In general, people are going to be pretty friendly. And if you don't like the interaction or the energy you're getting, you can leave. But the most important thing is you have to do it because this is why a lot of students, again, are picking teachers because they're afraid to do the thing that would give them the greatest change fastest. It feels more comfortable to pay a teacher because it's safe, right? It's scary to put yourself out there. But if you're really trying to get better at speaking, then this is, at some point, we have to make the leap. I do have to leave in a moment, but I do have one other question to try to address. I have a question. Do you have tips to reduce the accent besides shout? Yeah, I literally have a book. I have a book on a whole strategy of how to reduce an accent, expand your accent, and things like that. If you go to fluentamerican.com, the website, that's literally all I do during the day is just help people with pronunciation. But if you're looking for 4 keys, the big things that I would tell you to do, I need you to begin paying attention to what I believe are the 4 fundamentals of pronunciation: placement, pitch, breath, and trying to weaken your consonant sounds. Okay? On the channel, if these are new concepts for you, this will be the last thing before I have to go. I have a series called a 30-day, it's a 30-day accent challenge that walks through all these fundamentals. I will show you. If you want my most direct answer to this question, if you go to youtube.com/fluentamerican and you go down to 30-day American accent challenge, you'll see the videos are short. Each of them are about 1 to 3 minutes long. Okay, they're not long videos, but there's 30 of them. Those are what I believe to be the 30 most important concepts for achieving a natural sound American English. That would be my biggest answer. But they're all around placement, pitch, breath, and trying to weaken your consonant sounds. Okay? All right, guys, so try these resources out. If you attend something, leave it in the comments. Tell me, like, oh, hey, I'm signed up for a book club meeting, or oh, I'm signed up for a talk on personal finance, or oh, I'm going to a tech presentation, or oh, I found a meetup for coders and programmers. Cool. Let me know in the comments what you guys signed up for. Thanks for spending some time with me. I hope these are great resources for you. Once more, my name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. It's one of the 4 keys to a natural sound: placement, pitch, breath. Trying to weaken your consonants. I will see you all later. Thanks for spending some time with me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon. Bye, guys. Bye.